Hi everybody, welcome back to the MindOps YouTube page. My name is Shane Lemaster with MindOps. I want to first start off by thanking all of you who are subscribing, watching our videos, liking and sharing them. The purpose of us making these videos is for you guys to help provide some insight on some really important topics that most of us as human beings deal with or have considered or would like to consider for ourselves. So today we're going to be talking about goal setting and specifically effective goal setting. So why do we talk about that, right? Most people set goals, we know what goals are, but as it turns out, as the research tends to show, most people don't know how to set effective goals, okay? What does that look like, okay? So it just turned out to be, the new year, 2019 now, and it's a time for New Year's resolutions. So that's a perfect opportunity to start addressing this issue of effective goal setting. Okay, a New Year's resolution is just that. It's a goal for yourself for the next year. So statistics will show that most people fail at their New Year's resolutions. I believe, and I may be off a little bit on these percentages, but around 60% of people fail at their New Year's resolution within the first month after setting it. Okay, that's a pretty high number. And about 98% of people fail at their New Year's resolutions by the end of the year. So they've given up on them or just fall short and don't quite make that. So we want to look at what are some of the main reasons for people. Why do people fail at their goals? Okay, I'm sure you can think of a lot of reasons why you have not been able to achieve some of the goals that you set for yourself. My hope is that you have achieved some goals and have some experience in feeling that rush, that great feeling that comes from achieving your goals and the confidence that carries forward from that experience to help you achieve further goals. But like most of us, we have all failed at something in life. Something that we have set as a goal, we have failed at some point or another in our life. So I want you guys to think about, what are some of the reasons why you failed at some of your own goal setting efforts? In my experience and from what I've read in a lot of the literature around goal setting, and there's a lot of research around goal setting, so if you're interested in this topic, by all means, start looking up some of the research and journal articles on Google Scholar or at your nearest university or library. There's lots of research on goal setting. But some of the most common reasons why people fail at their goals, I'll just go through a few of them. So number one is around expectations. So we set our expectations too high around goals, where we may think that we can achieve something. So we set a really high goal, and then what we end up doing is we consistently fall short of that goal. This can become really disheartening and cause people to want to quit at the goal. Okay. Another reason why people fail at goal setting is we set our goals too low, and so we achieve our goals too rapidly. When we achieve our goals too rapidly and we're constantly setting our goals too low, people tend to get bored with the goals that they have and again can fall off and quit because they're just bored of goal setting in general. But probably the biggest reason why I see people fail at achieving their goals is that their goals are just not specific enough. They're way too broad, and a lot of people who set a goal or a New Year's resolution, they'll have this broad statement of, I want to achieve this, but there's no specificity, there's no plan of action of how that's going to get done, okay? So today we're going to go over a well-researched way to set goals. So it's backed up quite robustly in the scientific literature, and it's been studied for a number of decades. Some of you may have heard of this method. It's called S.M.A.R.T.E.R Goal Setting, where the word SMART is an acronym and each letter represents a different aspect of goal setting. Today, I'm going to introduce you guys to what's called S.M.A.R.T.E.R Goal Setting. So it builds off of the original research on SMART goals and adds 2 extra steps. But the first 5 steps, the part of the acronym that refers to SMART, is the same. So we'll go over that today. And I will run you through examples as well as sort of some of the questions, some of the things that you're trying to accomplish under each heading. Okay, so let's go to the whiteboard as I explain some of these goal setting techniques. All right, so we are looking at S.M.A.R.T.E.R goal setting. Let's start with the benefits. So there's many benefits that come from proper goal setting. Let's start with the first. So as we work through this process, and you'll see how these benefits manifest. But first of all, by setting more specific goals, our goals become less vague. So our vision for ourselves and what we want to accomplish becomes much clearer, and you'll see that happen as we work through these steps. So the SMART goal setting process incorporates planning into the process. So literally, while you're setting your goal, you are also setting a plan to achieve that goal. Okay, very important. I love the saying, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So it's important that we plan properly ahead of time if we're going to perform the way we want to. Okay, if there's no plan, then more than likely we're going to fail at the goal. Okay, so the SMARTER goal process also allows us to more quickly identify targets that we may have missed along the way. So ideally, we want to set long-term goals and short-term goals, and the short-term goals should build towards that long-term goal. But this process allows us to identify at various points on the way to our large goal, using the shorter-term goals, and assess whether we are on target, whether we're on the path to achieve our goal, or whether we've taken a misstep and we need to readjust again. Okay? This process also makes it easier for us to visualize success. So as we set our goal and make it as specific as possible, our vision for ourselves and for what success means to us becomes much clearer. Success in this area with this particular goal. So it's much easier to visualize it, much easier to keep that vision for yourself in your mind, especially in moments of doubt and low motivation. Okay? So this process, like I said, also creates smaller attainable goals, which is extremely important when trying to achieve large goals. If we just focus on the large goals, it can become extremely overwhelming and again cause us to quit. So we want to have smaller attainable goals along the way. These also help us to more quickly identify missed targets. Okay? And lastly, this SMARTER goal setting system, like I said, is backed up with scientific evidence, but it is literally a step-by-step process to help you set your goals effectively. So we are addressing goals one at a time using this type of structure. Okay, so the goal setting becomes much more structured and much more reliable for achievement. Okay. So let's get into the acronym, SMARTER, okay? So like I said, SMARTER is an acronym. Each letter represents a different aspect of the goal setting process. So let's go through them one by one. You can see them listed here, okay? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. That is the original SMART goal. And then I add, and there's also been research which backs up adding additional components, the E and the R, evaluation, and readjusting and re-engaging. So we'll go through these each one by one, okay? Next to these, I've put in brackets sort of some of the questions that you might want to ask yourself, or some of the relevant topics that you want to ask yourself when you get to each particular step in order to create as robust and specific a goal as possible, okay? So it's important that we address these. All right, so we're going to work through one example of a goal setting using this SMARTER goal process. So I'm going to use a common New Year's resolution or goal that people might have at the beginning of the year. Okay, so let's say I will quit smoking. Okay. The nice thing about this SMARTER goal setting process is it can be applied to literally any goal you want. If you have goals in business, goals in fitness, goals in nutrition, goals in your mental health, goals in your relationships, goals in your career, this goal setting process will work and has worked. It's been researched in numerous different domains. Will work very well for these. So we're just going to use a common New Year's resolution. And if this doesn't apply to you, then think of your own goal or what domain you would like to work on. Okay, so we always start out with a generalized goal statement. And you can tell it's not very specific right off the bat. That's what we want. We want to start with this so that we can compare our new goal statement to this original one. So we want to start with our original goal statement. I will quit smoking. Okay, let's take it to the first step. We need to get specific with this goal. So we need to, in effect, answer these 5 aspects of this goal, okay? So in most cases, the first question, who is going to do the goal? In most cases, this is going to be me, right? The I part. I will achieve this. If you run a business and maybe your goals have to do with employees improving productivity, things like that, then that question might be, your employees. It might be someone else. But for the most part, this who is going to be us, okay? Ourselves. So what are we trying to achieve? We need to get specific, more specific than quit smoking. So what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve tobacco cessation, which means quitting tobacco. Okay. And how? Let's think about this. How can we get a little bit more specific with this? Okay. Let's go into some of the. We'll come back to this, so we can get a little more specific here. So when would I like to achieve this? Okay. I would like to quit smoking. So maybe this is a quit date. Okay. I'm going to set a quit date for January 1st, New Year's, right? This is my New Year's resolution as an example. But also having some leeway in there. So I would like to have, understanding that relapse might be a part of it. I want to have at least 6 months without tobacco by December 31st. Okay, so this is just an example, just in case you want to give yourself some leeway. So when are we going to achieve this? Where is this going to be achieved? Okay, this is just going to be achieved in daily life. Okay. For other goals such as, I want to lose some weight, or I want to gain some weight, or something like that, the where might be somewhere like a home gym or a gym in the community, or out in nature, okay? But for this one, quitting smoking, for those of us who have smoked in the past, smoking sort of works its way into every aspect of our life. So we're going to be working on this in our daily life in every aspect, okay? And the most important question, why? Why are we even doing this in the first place? Okay, we need to understand that we're not just quitting smoking to quit smoking, but we're doing it for much deeper reasons. And this is where we start to get to those deeper reasons. This is so important to understand why we want to achieve this goal. Because once we understand why we want to do it, we can use that in the future, especially on those days when we want to give up on our goal, to try and remind ourselves to remember exactly why we're trying to quit smoking or change whatever behavior we're trying to change, okay? So for instance, for this one, I will quit smoking. Why do I want to do this? Better health, okay? Longevity in my life. I want to smell better, okay? Maybe other people don't like being around me because of the way I smell, okay? Plus, it's expensive, so I want to save money. Okay? These are some of the why reasons behind why I want to quit smoking. Okay? So now we can take all this information from the 5 questions and turn it into a better goal statement. Okay? So taking the original statement and the new information, let's try this out. So let's say, I will quit smoking on January 1st and will have had at least 6 months without tobacco by December 31st. That's the end of the year. Through daily efforts and we can get more specific here, but we'll keep that there. Through daily efforts for better health and longevity. Okay. So we can already see that that goal statement is much longer, but much more robust. Okay. So we have the who, we have the what, we'll quit smoking. We have the when, January 1st, and we'll have at least 6 months without tobacco by December 31st. Where are we going to do it? Through my daily efforts, and why? For better health and longevity. Now, through daily efforts, still a little bit broad. We can get more specific with that too. If you wish, daily efforts could look something like counseling, tobacco cessation counseling, daily thought journals, daily feeling journals, tracking it on a calendar, talking with supporters on a daily basis. If there's nicotine replacement available to you, taking your gum, taking your lozenges on a daily basis, using your patch. These all factor into daily efforts, and you can get much more specific there. And I would like you to get much more specific there if you could. Okay. So the next step, once we've made our goal specific, we need to make sure that our goal is measurable. So we need to track our goal. Why do we need to track our goal? Well, tracking our goal helps us to stay on track and recognize when we are getting off track in relation to our goal. So we need to be able to measure progress because it's very motivating. It also tells us and it points out where we're falling short. But this, it provides a motivating tool as well as a great feedback tool. So is our goal measurable? How will we be able to measure quitting smoking? Now, for a lot of our goals are related directly to numbers, so it becomes easy to track numbers. However, with this goal, it's either, it's a pass-fail thing. So did I smoke today or did I not smoke today? That's going to be how I track it. And there's a number of ways we can get creative with how we track it. Like I said, you can start a smoking journal. You can mark on a calendar on the days that you did smoke versus the days you didn't smoke, and look back on a weekly or monthly basis to compare. You can track any number of ways, but making sure that you can track and that you do track your goals is extremely important. Okay, so figure out, how am I going to track this goal? And that's part of the plan. Okay, the next step is attainable. So we need to ask ourselves, is our goal attainable? Okay, how are we going to attain it? This is, again, more of the plan. And do we need additional resources in order to accomplish our goal? Okay, so is this goal attainable? Well, I think if we had the proper support in place and maybe the proper nicotine replacement, which are both resources that I can insert into my plan, then I think, yeah, it's attainable. So I'll quit smoking, give myself a little bit of leeway just in case there's some lapses or relapses in there. But I think it is doable to have 6 months tobacco-free by the end of the year. I think daily efforts, that's definitely doable as long as I, give myself daily reminders to stay on top of it. So definitely, I think this is an attainable goal, okay? So again, attainable how? How are we going to attain this? And this is when we get into the specificity around efforts, okay? So that's how you're going to get it together, how you're going to accomplish this goal. And again, be as specific with your planning as possible. So like I said, nicotine replacement, counseling, support groups, watching documentaries on it, reading research online about effects of smoking and positive effects from quitting smoking. All these things can help you to attain it, okay? So the next step is relevance. So we need to make sure that our goal that we're creating is relevant to our big picture goals and values for ourselves over a lifetime, okay? So this is really where the why piece of the specific comes in, okay? So we mentioned better health, longevity, smell better, and save money, okay? So is my goal of quitting smoking relevant to my bigger picture goals? Well, yeah, I have a bigger picture goal of saving money and feeling more financially secure. I have a bigger picture goal of having more friends in my life, having a spouse in my life. So smelling better would definitely help with that. And I have goals of living a long, healthy life. Okay, and definitely quitting smoking is relevant to those big picture goals. Okay, super important that it's relevant. If our goal is not relevant to larger aspects of our life, we will have a tendency to almost minimize the importance of our goal. Okay, so make sure that it's relevant. Okay, so the last step of the SMART goal is time bound. So you'll notice that when we set a time limit for ourselves, we tend to accomplish things better. Okay, if you think of deadlines at work or due dates with school assignments, you'll notice that even if you procrastinate to the last minute, things tend to get done if they have a time limit on them. So we want to apply the same thing to our SMART goal. Okay, so we want to make sure that there is an ending point to our goal. And again, this is not a hard ending. This is not a time when we can say it's going to be pass or fail with our goal, but this is more of a time limit or a marking point where we can re-examine our goal to see where we fell short, where our successes were, and how we can adjust our goal moving forward. So let's take a look at our new refined goal. Do we have a time limit on it? Yes, we do. Okay, I want to have at least 6 months without tobacco by December 31st. That is our time-bound portion of this. So that means come December 31st, that's not the end of my goal. I don't go back to smoking then, but on December 31st, it gives me a hard date to really sit down and examine, my efforts up to this point. Have I reached that goal of 6 months? Did I fall short and maybe only have 4 months without tobacco? Or did I set my goal too shallow and maybe I have, 10 months without tobacco? Okay, so it gives us great opportunity to re-examine our goal and give ourselves feedback so that we can readjust, okay? So that was SMART, but then we like to add 2 more steps on it, the E and the R. So SMART-ER, the E stands for evaluate. So at this time-bound piece, at the December 31st time limit, this is where we really want to evaluate, like I said, successes as well as areas for improvement. And we will refine and readjust our goal in the last step. So we want to readjust our goal, and then most importantly, get back out there. Go and re-engage in your goal to continue it, okay? Our goals never stop, they just change. They get easier, they get harder, but we reset our goals after receiving that feedback and we get back out there, okay? So this is the SMART-ER goal setting process. And like I said, if you follow this process and you take an honest look and get as specific as possible with these goals, you are going to achieve many, many more of your goals than previously, okay? This last little thing down here in the corner, I just want to go over real quick. So at the beginning, we were talking about expectations and goal setting. So this is a little diagram I made. If this line represents your current level of ability to accomplish goals, okay? If we set a goal that's way too high above expectations, chances are, like I said, we'll become disheartened when we fail and we'll quit. If we set our expectations way below our current level of accomplishing, we'll get bored with the goals and we'll probably want to give them up, okay? So I call this the Goldilocks zone for goal setting, and it's been called lots of different things. I just like to call it the Goldilocks zone. But if we're going to set effective goals, we need to make sure that we set them right about here, just right outside of our current level that we can accomplish. Maybe this is what we could accomplish if we had a support group, or what we could accomplish if we went to therapy, or what we could accomplish if we had a gym partner, or something like that. If you were, we want to set our goal just outside what we're comfortable with achieving if we're going to experience growth. And this is much more important, okay? So this could be a long-term goal, okay? But we don't want to